changes during first trimester. So let's dive into looking at the physical changes that occurs in the mother's body during the first trimester of pregnancy. It's a very exciting and transformative time both for both mother and the baby. So during this period, many physical changes occurs as the body really adjusts to support the growth and development of the baby. So some of the notable changes that occurs during the first trimester is the first and the foremost things is missed period. So one of the first thing and the most common signs of pregnancy as is that women starts to miss their period, and the body stops ovulating when a woman becomes pregnant. So the menstrual cycle stop occurring. The next change that we commonly see is breast changes. So as the body starts to produce more hormones, the breast may begin to feel sore, swollen, or tender. The nipples may also become more sensitive, and the areolas, the darkened areas around the nipples, may also become more prominent and darker. Fatigue is also a common symptom in the first trimester, and the body really undergoes a lot of changes during pregnancy, and this can be very tiring for the women. And many women experience fatigue and may feel the need to rest more often. Morning sickness is another common symptom, and morning sickness mostly happens in the first trimester, which is the first 3 months, and the first trimester is from the first to the 12th week. So all these 12 weeks can women most likely are experiencing morning sickness. About 90% of women are studied to experience morning sickness. 10% women still don't. Like in my personal case, I never experienced morning sickness. I was very lucky that I never experienced any kind of nausea or morning sickness during my pregnancy time. But that is only the case with 10% women, and 90% women does go through a lot of nausea and vomiting, and in some cases morning sickness can even become severe and requires medical treatment at times. Now, food cravings and aversion are also one of the very common changes that occurs, and women experience changes in their food preferences during pregnancy, and some may crave certain foods, while others may develop an aversion towards foods that they used to enjoy before being pregnant. Increased urination is another common experience for pregnant women, and as the uterus expands, it puts a lot of pressure on the bladder, and which can cause women to need to urinate more frequently. Constipation is another common symptoms, and hormonal changes that occurs during the pregnancy can slow down digestion for many women. Spotting or slight spotting, it's like light spotting blood can be common during the early pregnancy and may be caused due to implantation bleeding. However, if discovery is, if the woman discovers that the bleeding is heavy or accompanied by cramping or pain, it may be a sign of miscarriage or any other complication in the pregnancy. Mood swings. So hormonal changes can affect a woman's mood also during pregnancy, and many women experience a lot of mood swings and may feel more emotional than usual. Vaginal discharge is another common experience, and there is increased vaginal discharge during the first trimester of pregnancy, and the mucus that releases from the vagina may appear a bit thicker or milkier in nature. And however, if the discharge is accompanied by itching or burning sensation or foul odor, then it may be a contraction. Changes in the skin and hair occur for mothers, would-be mothers. So hormonal changes also affect the skin and the hair during pregnancy, and some women may experience acne, dry skin, while others may notice their hair texture or thickness changes. Now, additional to physical changes, a lot of women during the first trimester may also experience range of emotional changes as their body and hormones adjust to support the growing fetus. So, some of the most common dynamic changes that happen during first trimester are excitement. So, one, like many women feel excited when they find out that they're pregnant, especially if it's their first child. And this excitement can be accompanied by joy and anticipation for what's to come. Anxiety is another emotional change which occurs. So while excitement is really common emotion during the first trimester, many women also experience anxiety. So women may worry about the health of the baby, or the kind of changes that are about to come in their life, or the responsibilities of becoming a parent. All those could be contributing factors to anxiety. Sometimes women are into a disturbed relationship that also can cause them anxiety, where their partner is not aligned with the pregnancy. Sometimes, otherwise, there is lack of love and resonance between the partners. That also is a cause of anxiety for most mothers. Another factor contributing with anxiety is usually the financial issues, that they're not ready financially. So in cases where the pregnancy is well planned and the couple together was deliberately trying for the child and is waiting, in those cases the pregnancy it is a better experience, of course, and it's very, very much favorable. The inner and the outer environment is way more favorable for the child also. But in the cases where pregnancy occurs unintentionally or unplanned, or only due to the desire of one partner, all those can bring a lot of conflict, and mothers may go through different kind of anxieties. So the reason why I'm sharing with all of this with you is to really understand that the mental state of different mothers are different depending on their relationship and their current circumstances inside of their relationship with their partners, their financial status, their emotional status, their mental stability otherwise, and their career status. So many different things can cause them anxiety. Now, fear is another ordinary emotion that very common emotion that mothers experience during the first trimester. And women may fear complication during pregnancy, childbirth, or they might be fearful for their baby's health at that. As we discussed, the mood swings, the changes in the hormones really lead to a lot of mood swings, and inside of mood swings, being irritated and more emotional, a lot more crying and getting anxious way too easily are very common mood swings that women experience during the first trimester. Now, guilt is another common experience, and some women do experience guilt during the first trimester, especially if they have been engaging in behaviors that are not recommended during pregnancy, such as smoking or alcohol, or some women might even feel guilty due to many other practices that they might have had previously prior to pregnancy, or if they are too addicted to caffeine and they know that it can cause miscarriage or harmful for the baby. So even apart from regular drug abuse or major substance abuse, even smaller dietary patterns could be cause of guilt for mothers also at times. Now, coming on to other emotions, which is confusion. So pregnancy is really a time of many changes, and many women may feel confused or overwhelmed by the amount of information that they need to absorb during the pregnancy, and that can make them feel confused a lot of times, because nowadays we have access to Google Everything is on tips of our fingers, but it's also confusing at the time because you don't know whom to rely on, and that can be really stressful at times, to how to trust which path to follow and what to do and what not to do. So that is another cause of stress at times for mothers. Ambivalence is another emotion that mothers goes through. So some women, some mothers do experience ambivalence about their pregnancy for the first trimester. So they may be unsure if they are ready for parenthood, or they want to continue the pregnancy or not. And that keeping that kind of emotion can sometimes be damaging for the baby if they continue to keep the baby but not be aligned with the baby. So next is loneliness. So pregnancy really can be a lonely experience at times, and especially the woman does not have a strong support network or is experiencing complication that makes socializing difficult during the time of pregnancy. That may cause them to experience loneliness quite often. Now, anticipation is another emotional upheaval that they experience, and they like some tension during the first trimester as they look forward to meeting their baby and starting their new life with a parent. So, a lot of anticipations on what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. Depression is also a common occurrence where other emotional changes are already happening, and depression can also occur during the time of the pregnancy and even inside first trimester. So women who have had history of depression or are experiencing difficult pregnancy may have a higher risk of experiencing depression. And so women really need to be aware of the emotional changes that occur during the first trimester of pregnancy and seek help if they are experiencing any symptoms of depression or anxiety. Now let's look into physical changes in the baby. So the first trimester is a very rapid development period for the embryo that transforms into a recognizable human being. So as we discuss the physical changes in details for the fetus, let's see step by step what are the kind of formation happens during this phase. So first is the formation of major organs. So the fetus major organs begin to form during this time, and the heart, brain, liver, and kidneys are fully developed by the first trimester's end. And the heart starts to beat and pump blood around the body at around 6 weeks of gestation. So heart is the first organ to form basically in us. And the lungs, digestive system, and the reproductive system also form during this time. Limb development also starts to occur. So during the first trimester, the limbs of the fetus begin to develop, and the arms and the legs forms as buds, and they grow longer and longer as the time passes by. And the hands and the feet create a webbed kind of structure which later separates into fingers and toes. Facial features also begin to form during this first trimester. The eyes and the ear begin to move into their correct position, and the nose, mouth, and lips starts to take shape. And by the end of first trimester, the fetus has a recognizable human face. So that's a miracle taking place altogether. Skeleton system also begins to form during the first trimester, and initially the bones are soft and flexible, but they start to harden as the fetus grows. The fetus has a fully formed skeleton system by the end of first trimester. Fetal movement. So the fetus also begins to move during the first trimester, although the mother does not usually feel these movements until the second trimester. So at around 8 weeks, the fetus begins to make spontaneous movements such as flexing its arms and legs and opening and closing its fist also. Now, the umbilical cord begins to form at this point. So the umbilical cord connects the fetus to the placenta, which provides the fetus with oxygen and nutrients. The umbilical cord is vital for the development of the fetus and will continue to grow and develop throughout the pregnancy. Reproductive system of the baby also begins to form at this stage, and by the end of first trimester, the sex of the fetus can be determined. The ovaries or the testes begin to develop, and the external genitalia takes shape. Neural tube formation also begins to occur during the first trimester, and the structure really eventually develops into our brain and spinal cord. So the neural tube must form correctly, as problems can lead to neural tube defects such as spina bifida. Now, moving on to important points for the prenatal yoga practice during this phase. So, some of the essential points that we must remember during our yoga practice during this phase would be risk of miscarriage or bleeding. So it's really essential to inquire about the history of miscarriage or vaginal bleeding from your prenatal yoga students prior beginning their yoga practice. So if the mother have had a history of miscarriage or bleeding, then it's really important to recommend that they consult their doctor before beginning the yoga program with you. And it's also essential to modify yoga poses to avoid any posture that could exacerbate their situation or condition, and and all the modifications should actually ensure that their practice is safe for both the mother and the baby. So in case of miscarriage, only very slight asanas or light, which requires only light movements, no jerks at any point in time, no opening of legs, no wide opening legs movements or asanas, no squatting. All of this is not recommended at all if the woman is or have had a history of miscarriage or bleeding in their previous pregnancy. Now, looking into their previous yoga practice experience. So, before starting the prenatal yoga, it's really important to also inquire with your students that if they have previous yoga experience or not. So if you understand their experience and their skill level, then you can really provide appropriate modification for their current pregnancy. And it's important to know that some of the yoga poses may not be suitable anymore for the women who have especially been practicing some hard yoga practices like Ashtanga, or they are too habituated to certain postures. Then it will be very crucial for you to inform them that they will have to discontinue certain poses and practicing in a certain manner, or they have to avoid jerking their body at any point in time. Even entering and exiting into asana has to be very smooth and slow. So if they have had a practice of yoga before also, but still certain set of instructions are to be given to them to avoid any kind of risk to the baby or the mother. Then understanding yoga principles. So before starting yoga practice, it's also essential to teach the students the fundamental principles of yoga, such as proper breathing techniques and alignment and mindfulness, especially. So though in any kind of yoga practice, practicing asanas mindfully, entering into the asana with the sense of stability and creating that balance and grounding into asanas, all that and alignment is all that essential component of any yoga practice. But it becomes way more important during the time of prenatal yoga, because if the woman is out of alignment, balance, or is not moving in and out of asanas mindfully, or is not breathing properly while being inside an asana, she's holding breath, which is not at all recommended during the prenatal phase, then all of these small mistakes can be hazardous for her health and the baby's health. So we just cannot make any mistakes, and that is why explaining fundamentals of alignment, breathing, consistently normal breathing, never holding the breath, being mindful to how to enter into the asana, coming into asana, never jerking their body at any point in time. All these core instructions and fundamental principles for the yoga practice becomes very essential at this stage and becomes very, very crucial for the safety of the baby and the mother. So you can also guide mothers to be able to connect to their babies mindfully with practicing mindful awareness while being in the asana or while doing the practice, and really focusing on more relaxation inside the asana, and that should be the focus of the practice. Now, awareness about yoga. So, really educating the mothers about potential risks and benefits of yoga during pregnancy is really essential. And prenatal yoga does have that power to help elevate some kind of common discomforts of pregnancy, such as lower back pain, nausea, and fatigue. However, specific yoga postures, which involves deep twists, inversions, and back bend, should be avoided. And it's really essential to guide the mothers safely through their practice and help them modify the posture to suit their body needs. So, really giving them briefing of when to stop, when to inform you what's not working for them. Whenever they are feeling even the slightest of discomfort, they should stop, come out of the asana like gently. So all of this basic instructions should be given, and what we do not do at all practice, like deep twists or inversions and back bends, are not part of prenatal yoga at all. So all this, if it's guided in the beginning itself, that will really help mothers to have a very safe and strong practice during the prenatal yoga phase. Now, avoiding overheating is another essential component or point to remember. So, women are more, women during the pregnancy are more susceptible to overheating, and keeping their body temperature regulated during the yoga practice becomes very essential. So we really need to encourage mothers to drink plenty of water before, during, and after their yoga practice, and also take frequent breaks whenever they feel overheated. Now, intention and focus also becomes a very important component in this practice. So what they need to do is rest, first of all. So the first trimester of the pregnancy is very, very, the intense time for mother, and mother is going through a lot of physical and emotional changes. And when we start the practice, we need to design the fundamental goals for our practice. And the key to having a very powerful practice is to have that intention and focus for the practice and the very reason for it. So we are not doing it for, building muscles at this point in time or whatever, but the real focus is to conserve and build energy, and rest is the key to it. So, because first trimester can be particularly very exhausting for mothers, and their body does undergo very, very rapid changes and to accommodate the growing baby. So during this phase, we have to focus on rest and relaxation. And so we need to design sequences that really help mothers to conserve and build energy. So some of the effective practices that we can include is restorative yoga postures, like supported Supta Bandha Kosasana, Viprita Karni, child pose, Balasana. All this can really help mother to relax and conserve their energy. We can also focus that we practice one asana, go into child pose, or two asanas, go into child pose, like that. So we can do transitions, but always add more rest as compared to your normal yoga classes. Now, gentle yoga sequences focusing on breath can also help mothers to recharge their batteries in the sense. So, really, for example, if we add more of Nadi Shodhana or all alternative breathing technique as well as Ujjayi pranayama, the victorious breath, those kind of pranayamas can really help the mothers calm down their mind and rebuild their energy. Focusing on nurturing is important. So, the first trimester is a time for deep nurturing for the mother and the growing baby. So, for inside prenatal yoga, we have to design sequences that support the mother's both physical and emotional needs. And nurturing is the key to that. So when we design sequences from the key point of, with the focus of how we can nurture mothers through this practice, that will guide us to design the sequences accordingly. So very gentle stretching exercises targeting on hips, lower back and shoulders should relieve tension and ease discomfort. And yoga postures focusing on pelvis and uterus can also increase blood flow to the reproductive organs and also promote baby's development. So encouraging mothers to practice self-care and self-love can also be very nurturing at times. We can guide them through self-love guided meditation or meditation that is focusing on self-compassion. And all these kind of meditations we can include in our yoga session, which can help the mothers to connect to their bodies and emotions more deeply. Next would be surrender. So, the first trimester can be uncertain and be vulnerable for many mothers, and it's really essential to create a safe and supportive environment where they can let go of their fears and surrender to the process of pregnancy. And some of the yoga practices that can help mothers to surrender would be gentle yoga posture, focusing on the heart center, and help the mothers to open up and release emotions. So asanas like Ustarasana, Bhujangasana, and Setubandha Sarvangasana, all these asanas can be very supportive for the mothers to help them surrender more. And meditation practices that focus on acceptance and surrender can also be really beneficial. We can also use guided meditation that encourage mothers to let go of control and trust the process more. And all those can be really powerful surrender practices for the mothers and the state. Now, spiritual development is another key to focus on. So pregnancy can be a very, very transformative experience for many mothers, both physically and spiritually. So as a prenatal yoga teacher, you can really facilitate that spiritual development for the mother by creating opportunities for self-reflection and connection with the divine. And some of the practices that you can consider to add on to your sequences at this point in time would be focusing on the third eye and focusing, postures like child pose, or even if you're sitting in easy pose or lotus pose, all that, and then focusing on your third eye during that time can help mothers elevate their energies and connect to their higher wisdom and intuition. We can also use guided meditation, focusing on the mother-baby connection and help the mothers to deepen the spiritual relationship with their growing baby. And at the same time, we can also encourage mothers to create a regular practice of meditation for kind of continuous spiritual development. We can also promote personal transformation at this point in time, and we can encourage mothers and support them by creating creating a safe and supportive environment for mothers where they can feel safe to express themselves and really work on the areas of their life and aspects of their life they've been wanting to work for a long, long time, and explore those inner aspects in which they feel incomplete or they feel the work is required here. So all those exploring that. And so if we do certain asanas or add practices which focuses on the navel area, solar plexus area, and connected to though there are very less postures that we can do during the pregnancy for the abdomen, but just connecting to the abdomen region through certain practices can be really helpful. As simple as just putting both your hands on the belly and just connecting to that area, your solar plexus area, can enhance that sense of creativity and intuition to rise upwards, and the mothers begins to express more, and they are more informed and aware of what's happening inside their body and mind, and also being able to let go of so many emotions or blockages that might be holding on to them for a long, long time. And this is the right time that they can let go and release. So we can also focus on guided meditations that help them with self-discovery and self-acceptance, and explore their inner self and embrace this personal transformational changing time, all those. So all that can really help them bring about a transformational change in their lives during this phase. We can also encourage them to set intention for their pregnancy and birth, and that is why Sankalpa is a very, very beautiful way to start their yoga practice or meditation practice. So we have a very detailed chapter on Sankalpa and its importances, so I'll not go deep into that, but just letting you know that having that clear intention, so setting that clear intention before starting any practice makes huge difference inside of the practice. They can also focus on inside of the when we are designing prenatal yoga classes for the mothers inside their first trimester. So we can begin these practices in the beginning itself. So what kind of characteristics do the mothers would like to have in their babies? So adding these kind of practices would be a great idea. So during the first trimester specifically, the mothers may find themselves thinking about how would the baby be, because they can't really feel anything. And that's when the time to really set that tone right and make them visualize the kind of characteristics they would want in their baby to possess. So what we can really do is add practices like visualization techniques that can help mothers to connect to their babies and visualize and imagine the qualities the baby would have. And we can also incorporate some postures that would allow them to connect a lot more through their heart and chest, and also with the baby a lot more. So maybe just keeping the hands on the belly or holding the belly from beneath. All those simple hand gesture where they can feel that touch. What any kind of mudra or simply touching any body part of ours through a hand does is it brings our entire attention into that area, and hence channelize our energy and focus into a particular direction. So let's suppose if you're touching your heart center, then that touch in itself has a lot of power to bring our focus onto our heart center and focus on whatever we are trying to create, an intention or a prayer or whatever. So this gesture has a great role to play inside our journey, even in yoga and otherwise. So we can also guide the mothers to use positive affirmation and also meditations that focus on, manifesting the desired qualities in the babies. We can also work on introversion or self work, inner self work. So, the first trimester can also become a very introspective time for mothers, and as their bodies are going through a lot of changes, they may reflect on their beliefs, values, and goals. So we as teachers can really facilitate this self-work through certain specific yoga practices where we can create an environment to help the mothers connect to their inner self and process any impending emotions that they would like to progress. So, of course, once again, child pose is a great pose, or lying down on their right hand side and just focusing on their third eye point. All those practices can really help. We can also encourage them to do yoga nidra at this point in time and observe their bodily sensation and use that self-awareness practice during the day. So out of 24 hours, if 1 hour is yoga practice, and 23 hours are of self-awareness. So cultivating that self-awareness practice through the yoga practice can really act as a great inner work or self-work practice during those 23 other hours during the day. So anyhow, mothers needs to begin to be more cautious of their body and their movements, how they're moving, and even their thoughts, because their thoughts during the pregnancy has a great role to play in the development of not only just physical but emotional, mental, spiritual development of the baby. So the more introspective they become at this point in time, the more they're willing to work on themselves, their own thought processes, the better benefited the baby will be. So we can really focus on creating meditation that focus on self-acceptance and self-inquiry, and diving into those deepest, darkest places where we don't want to, but then we are willing to release them. We don't want to do too challenging trauma work or emotional trauma work where mothers needs to go through or go into too much past or dwell into too much past. But still, whatever crops up on the surface, we should be willing to let go and be willing to work on them at least. Now, focusing on the major life changes. So, major life changes like work and building a family, all this is occurring during this phase. And this time is a very crucial time in mother's life, and because she can anticipate that so many areas of her life are not going to remain the same. And when the mother is going through all those changes and her mind is confused and anxious for so many things, we can help her navigate through these changes through adding certain practices into our yoga routine that will help her to go through this with ease. So, just using warrior poses to build more self-esteem and confidence, tree poses or balancing posture, which will help her find her ground once again, being able to stand strong and find her confidence all over again. So she will find that balance within her, that regardless of all the changes that are happening in my life, I can still stand strong. I can go through this. And so yoga practice, I always feel, is reflective of our life. If we build our strong yoga practice in terms of finding our ground, finding our balance, finding our connection, finding more surrender, all those practices that we do in our on yoga mat, that reflects in rest of the 23 hours outside the yoga mat. So it's a great opportunity to build that for mothers when they are with you inside the yoga class. We can also guide them through practices of guided meditation that will expand their self-esteem, self-confidence, and give more self-acceptance to them. and allow them that space where they can let go of their fears and anxiety about these changes that are occurring in the body, also body, mind, and their life overall. So just giving them that space that they can do it, and no matter what shows up, it will be taken care. So now, coming on to just keeping some general rules in mind while incorporating, while practicing yoga. So first would be asanas, where we should actually focus on restoring more, grounding more, more pelvic opening, focusing on digestion, leg strengthening, and all this. These should be our focus in the first trimester when we are designing the asanas for the mothers in their first trimester. So really, once again, the way I said, pelvic opening, leg strengthening, grounding, restoring, all those should be our focus. So using child pose or repeat the karni will be a great idea to incorporate in between the asanas every time, because it does help restore a lot of energy, feeling relaxed even after practice of 2 or 3 asanas also. We can use goddess pose to open the pelvic area, and triangle pose to improve digestion and relieve constipation. We can use warrior poses to strengthen the legs, and all these postures are great. And we have almost over 100 plus asanas that we have done in this course, and you can choose combination of many such asanas to design the sequences. Now, pranayama is another practice that we, of course, use in our session. So, inside of pranayama, introversion and self-reflection and calming should be the focus. So, the goal is to really help the mothers to connect with their breath and manage their stress and anxiety during this time. So, alternative nostril breathing or Nadi Shodhya pranayama can really help them balance their energy at this point in time, and it is also one of the calming pranayamas. Ujjayi pranayama, which is victorious breath, can also help mothers to improve their lung capacity, reduce stress and anxiety. Brahmari or the bee breath is also another pranayama we can use quite often during the pregnancy phase that will help the mothers to relieve tension and promote relaxation. We can also incorporate continuous usage of mantras. We can use Om or Gayatri mantra, Mahamrityunjay mantra. Those are all powerful tools that can help the mothers to connect to their inner self and promote spiritual growth in the first trimester. Now, I'm not sure how much you're aware about the mantras, but just to give you a gist of it, Gayatri mantra is one of the most powerful mantra in Hinduism, and it can help expecting mothers connect with the divine, the feminine divine energy, and promote spiritual growth also. And Om is a sacred sound, the primordial sound that represents the universe vibration, and that can help calm the mind and promote relaxation. Mahamrityunjay mantra is very powerful mantra that can help protect against any negative energies and promote healing. So anytime she's feeling too fearful about the safety of child, Mahamrityunjay mantra is a great powerful tool to practice at this point in time. Including some bandhas and kriyas are also a great idea. So Mula Bandha or root law is the basic bandha which should ideally be practiced quite more often in the yoga practice. We have detailed chapters on the practices, just but giving you just very quick gist on what we can add. So bandhas can really help mothers to strengthen their pelvic floor muscles and improve the digestion. And root lock or Mula Bandha is specifically for the pelvic floor muscles and does promote healthy baby development also. Now we we can also focus on doing there are the other bandhas are not too great at this point in time, but we can use few foods that can nourish the mothers. And so at this point in time we cannot just do too many of, let's say, cleansing kriyas, because they are not suited for the pregnancy, but still we can continue to use certain liver cleansing food that will help mother to revitalize her system and aid in digestion. So those we will discuss in detail in the food chapters, etc. With that, I hope this was helpful. We'll go into the second trimester and the changes, emotional and physiological changes that occurs in the second trimester in the next chapter. And I really hope this was helpful and really allowed you to understand the changes that occurs in mother's life during the first trimester. With that, thank you.